Bill Daley is with us right now, the former FBI investigator. Bill, tell me what this process is like.
Well, first of all, Neil, is that SCIF, it's not a little boat they go into. You know, it's a location inside government building.
I had that wrong.
So it's a sensitive, compartmented info facility. And what it means is that it's a room that's secure. You can't go in there and expect to take a picture with your kind of bow tie camera or something else.
So they're watching out for that.
It's security guarded, as well as it's contained. For that reason, they just don't want people in there copying, transmitting that information.
But there's only one copy.
So it'll be only one copy.
And it's a normal size paper. It's not like a thing that's blown up.
I expect that this is on what they call a 302, which is the FBI's reporting mechanism, where they take the notes from interviews and they then transcribe those notes onto a 302 report. So this is not captioning any kind of background or information suggesting they believe or don't believe the person making the statements. It is just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And
when you say just the facts, it's spread across, in this case, up to interviews from 9 people. I know they collate other material from the committee, or they could, but it's 9 people in interviews or transcripts of those interviews?
It would be now transcripts verbatim, because what it typically is one FBI agent is taking the notes, the other one's conducting the interview. They put together those notes both by what they've recorded in hand, as well as what they recall from their conversation, and they put together.
You're talking dozens of pages, hundreds of pages?
It depends how long that interview is. So each one of these individuals, if I spend time with you and we take 45 minutes to an hour, that may result in quite a number of questions being asked and the answers being put down on one of these documents. So,
but that's 100 senators, right, who have to go through all this, Bill?
It is. But I think, Neil, this is the only way at this point that you can maintain confidentiality also about the people who provide the statements.
But this process could go well into tomorrow, right?
It depends on how long that line queues, about how many people want to go in together, how quick people read.
Is there a limit to how many go in together?
I would say that they probably would want no more than 2 or 3 people in there at one time, just physically being able to read the documents.
Sort of like going into the Sistine Chapel. You can't
reading the Vatican documents.
Indeed. That's how I think. All right, so let me get your sense of the different reads you're getting on this report. Some Democrats have already said that it does not exonerate the judge. Others saying, Republicans, it does exonerate the judge, and no one has corroborated some of the charges against him. They've all read the same thing, presumably, or looked at it. Does that normally happen?
Yeah, and I think, Neil, we just have to go back too far, only a couple of months, to look at kind of a similar situation when they were looking for those reports from the FBI, and eventually the Senate Intelligence Committee. 2 documents were produced, one by the Republicans, one by the Democrats, and where they distilled down what they thought were their take on those documents. And so in this case, certainly it probably could be politicized either way. However, for the FBI, and I think it's an important time for the FBI because of what's all happened in the past preceding 6 months or so, is important that they remain independent and separate from this process. And I believe that's why they want to make sure this document is contained in a highly confidential manner, that what they've put down are what they believe are the words that were spoken to them and the facts as they understand them from these interviews, but also protecting the identity of those people. We just don't want, Neil, individuals who've provided information, all of their personal
But should I read anything
released.
Into the fact, Bill, that Democrats, to a man or woman, so far, have not been pleased, and that Republicans, to a man or woman, have been?
I would probably say so, and I would probably suggest to you is that you'd have to ask the question, no matter what was in the report, would it change the minds and the hearts of people on the Democratic side?
Well, the president is leaving for Minnesota on a campaign stop. He had said, obviously, he was privy to this last night, I think 2 or 3 in the morning, the White House got, I don't know the exact timing, but he more or less telegraphed that this exonerates the judge, and it was off to the races from there. But the question I have for you is, have we set a precedent here, good or bad, where now the FBI is doing background checks on people going back to high school or earlier?
Yeah, it is certainly uncharted territory. Typically, those background checks, and by the way, Judge Kavanaugh has had 6 of these, of which I would probably suggest to you a couple, because he worked in the White House and access to sensitive information, were full field investigation, meaning they went out to the community, didn't just talk to Aunt Sally or Uncle Tom, who we would put down as a reference, but the broader community and people who live and work around you. So he's had a very thorough background check. This is an add to that, and this is a very specific one now, going back these many years. And as you suggested, it is kind of a slippery slope and a precedent that you hope doesn't get repeated, because you just don't want to go back to, how far do you go back to kindergarten, and what kind of pictures were you drawing with the finger paints, and what did that mean? There's a whole kind of, as you said, a precedent can set up that can really make these processes even more challenging.
Who decides, real quickly, who's talked to and who's not? Much has been said of the fact that Judge Kavanaugh wasn't queried here, neither Dr. Ford. Who makes those decisions?
That's going to be done in the field by the supervisors who are overseeing this investigation
at the FBI level.
At the FBI level.
The White House isn't controlling. The Senate isn't controlling.
No, they would not get drawn into it. It's the FBI agents, FBI supervisors in the field, and also these are going to be leads that went out to the FBI field offices. So if you have somebody who needs to be spoken to in Connecticut and California, it's going to go out to those respective field offices. So these people are not necessarily even talking to each other about who or how to conduct these investigations. They're going to follow protocol, going to do the right thing. They're going to go interview people who they believe are either on the original list or for some reason need to be spoken to because information was given to them that they need to speak with those people. So at this point, I don't think we know how many people were actually talked to, how many of these 302s are in there, how long they are, and to your point originally is how long could this process take? It could take a couple of days, depending how quickly people want to read
All right.
it.
Thank you, Bill Daley, very much.